was living there till Hitler come in. And before he come into the city, I was living in a town, a village called Fabryka Gum in Ideal. That's in Polish. And I was the only Jewish boy going there to school. And later we moved into the city of Wolborn, and I was raised there, and I learned about Judaism, and I went to Polish school. Then Hitler come in 1939, I think on September, he used to take us out for slave working, or at least we were home, screening the street, fixing the railroad tracks, all kind of different works, highways. Well, at that time, at least we got home, we have our own house, we have our own bed. They eliminated, they make like a ghetto, you only can have, instead of having so many rooms, you only allowed 3-4 rooms, that's all. And I had 5 brothers. My oldest brother was David, and the other brother was Sidney. Then I had a brother Israel, and then I had a brother Moses, Moniek, was in Polish. So none of those survived, and my mother was named Ruzha Neufeld, and my sister was Maria, and I had a sister Estelle. None of this come back. I think the time, I'm just talking now about the camps, I'm not talking about live in Poland, maybe get later back and talk about Poland. And I remember in 1942, when they sent them away, and I've been told, they went later, I found out years later, I got from Israel, that they were sent to a place called Belzec. And this was a place where they mostly killed the people, hanged the people, and crematorium was mostly Vernichtungslager. There was nobody ever come out there to tell what had happened, how it happened. It was very bad. I know I didn't survive, I didn't have anybody from my family survive. In fact, I was living in a night town. I had at least 70, 80 first cousins, I'm only talking, and I know none of them survived. So I'm left alone with other brothers, with other sisters, with other cousins. It's just bad, that's all. So I decided to, later I got registered and I decided to go to America, and this is the country I found my freedom. I love it so much. And this is just to introduce myself, and I thought I would tell you later more about the camps and everything. So now if you want to, Albert, you can turn it off and we can talk about something else. Now, it's my brother and the friends, and they had a party. And it's too bad none of them here to survive. And this like corner in the left hand is my brother. And this is here, the next picture, what you're looking at, it's my mother. It's about my grandfather, he died, and then they put a monument a year later. It's before Hitler come in, and was taking a picture. My mother is there, and my older brother is there. They would put a monument up. I think it was in 1939. I was too young to go there. There's another town to go in to put a monument. What I'm trying to tell you, and another thing, is all those families, nobody there to talk about it, nobody survived. The rest all were killed out. Can I speak now? Okay. I was living in a town where mostly no Jews were living there, and I was the only one. I went to school, and it was hard to be a Jewish fellow. While I was a Jew, they always discriminate, they hate you. They used to call the people, Jew, Hitler behind you. And they used to call other things, in Polish, the same thing. The Jew, pick behind you. We were unwelcome in Poland, we had a tough life. I myself couldn't complain too much. I was the only one living there, so they accept me maybe. Or I couldn't get any friends to visit me. If they visit me, they used to be throwing stones and hate. When he was a Jewish man, there used to be hate. Not allowed Jews to come in that village. And later I was living in a town, in the city, where I was learning about Judaism, to learn to know what Judaism means, and get brought up with Jewish boys and Jewish girls. I'd be a good Jewish boy. So I seen that they didn't like us neither. When I went to the Gentile school all the time, they used to fight between the Polish and the Jews. Used to come in days when they used to have pogroms. They didn't like the Jewish people. Used to go on the market to selling, on a Tuesday, to selling some merchandise. So the Polish people attacked him. While it's Jewish business, they didn't like to have the Jews having pogroms. Saturdays, Fridays night, we used to take walks. Everybody was scared. I took a walk with a fellow by the name of Feigenblatt. And Rivel and Naya, that Naya is alive, he lives in Israel. That Elif Feigenblatt died in 1978. And he used to be a big fighter later in Israel. He lost all his brothers too. He was a big fighter in the military, maybe that's why he died younger. He was wounded a few times. The name was known, he's going to Landau, Elif Feigenblatt. We didn't took those things, we fought back. There were some people put their head down. The folks say, don't fight back, put your head down, go away, don't fight, don't be a big boy. But we didn't take those things, we fought back. We were young and we didn't allow them to fight. One day I remember they called me to scare me. I was a kid in the police station. And there was the sheriff from the police, his son was an anti-Semite. He did the pogrom, and he saw that we beat him up bad. He was mad at us. He got beaten up. So later they let us loose, and I was scared of those kids. I don't know what they would do to us. So they pogrom, they beat us, and then we beat them up really bad. And this way was a tough life in Poland to be as a Jewish boy. And I used to be mad by some Jewish people used to wear a Jewish hat or a yarmulke. I thought maybe that's their fault. Maybe they shouldn't be so show up that they are Jewish, should hide to be not recognizable. As old-fashioned people were religious in Poland, they used to wear yarmulkes and stuff. So I thought maybe this makes it anti-Semite. But I don't think so. It seems they don't like it either way. It's you, not you. I myself felt bad, but I looked Jewish. I couldn't run away, couldn't hide. They look at me, they know I'm Jewish. But that's the way life was in Poland. It wasn't so good. It was always bad. And then later, when Hitler came in, then really it was bad. He put the people, sold them out for crematoriums, sold them out. Some of them they can take care of the people what they died killed later, and later they used the same people there in the crematorium, took out the fresh crops, and they make the other one take care of the other people, and so you kill them out till each one get tired out and sick too. They put them in the crematorium. Some the healthy and strong when he took him to crematorium, and some we used it meantime for labor. And by the end he didn't have the chance maybe to finish us up. The whole thing was we were already told that we supposed to be killed out. We didn't get a chance to finish it up, all of them. Somehow America come first from one side, the Russian come from the other side. They didn't know they'd be so fast they couldn't finish us off. Like they make me work, they thought they need me for another few days while I was working by the end for an airplane called Messerschmitt. So they thought they can use it, need for war, the Messerschmitt airplane. They thought they kept me later, and later they take us for the Dead Marsh. They see how bad it is and everything. They get a message, so I decided to run away, which I did. I ran away with a friend of mine, Dr. Boom. So then I hide on a tree while the dogs come around and smell, and I laid on the tree. I see the assessment got by, so I later come out. I come out and I walked into, I see which side I'm east, west, so I know which place to go. So I decided to walk through a small town. I didn't know it really, it's a small town, and I walked to a village, was a farmer, and he had a windmill going around. So I said to this doctor, we got to stay here, I couldn't make it anymore. And he said, okay. But if we got to tell him that we are Polish people, we are farmers, that we would help him on the farm. And I didn't have that time the uniform like a displayed person, I have civilian clothes. No, it was marked a cross in the back, and I had a coat cover up my civilian clothes, so I wouldn't see the cross. And I got in there, we told him we go work there, so he accepted us. we accept us. And I told this Dr. Wom we had to get up early, start to help him feed the cattle and all those things, show him that we are really farmers. To survive, I had to do anything. I decided to make a lie. I couldn't tell him I'm a Jew. A Jew has no right to live. And probably he thought himself, I look Jewish, I might be Jewish. My friend, the doctor, didn't look Jewish. So anyhow, I stayed in the morning. The guy decided we have a pants alarm. So he decided to say, oh, you guys won't have to leave it. I don't need you anymore. So we remember the day well. Then I come down, later I seen American tanks first, so I was happy, I see the star, I kicked the Dr. Wom, I couldn't even talk. We are free, we see American tanks, that we, yeah. So I go down to tell him I'm going to leave it. And I come down, he said, you don't have to leave it now. And there was a whole house with SS. They must be scared and they run to hide there. And I figured, my gosh, now I can be killed here. Well, they didn't kill me, they fought for their own life, they were scared. So I left another farm, and each morning I decided to go to the city. The city was the town of Eggenfeld. It's in Niederbayern. And I walked to the city, I was scared with Dr. Wom. I walked middle of the street, but I figured still somebody might kill me, so I make sure that I have enough room to protect. I was too weak anyhow, but was scared to walk on the sidewalk. And I come in on the square, like we call the Stadtplatz in German, would be on a square. And I see some American, not many of them, tanks and stuff. I couldn't believe it. I am a free man. It's the happiest hour in my life. I'll never forget. See American star on the tanks. I couldn't. It's hard for me to explain. I figured at that time, I don't care if I live or not. Now, sure, I want to live longer. I thought I see freedom. That's why I want to see American tanks. I got to see an American. So this was the story of my life. I talk a little bit about Muslim, now I got it mixed up. I told you about Poland, now I told you about the war, after the war. But I got something else more to talk about it. After we stop for a minute, I would start thinking about it, we talk about something else. Allowed to go out of the city. It was a Friday, we had a nice dinner. After dinner, we take a walk. We used to walk out of the city. And when you walk out of the city, a lot of things can have pogrom, you get beaten up. But we weren't scared, so we fought back. Like this Eli Feigenblatt I told you, he was a leader in the Israeli army. He had special kind of papers in Israel. Used to come on a Tuesday when they had the Marks Day, people come in selling stuff. They put on the square, they have for sale clothes, shoes, they fit on you. And used to see people going beating up. And all his kids, maybe about 14, he fought back, he really fought. They broke his glasses, he had glasses. He had twin brother. The older brother was already old enough, he was in the college. Yeah, over there in Poland wasn't so easy to get to college. You had to have money, not less money, to be a Jew. Anyhow, so he fought back. He didn't take anything from anybody. He was a man, he stayed for his life. Later he decided to go to Israel. His brother, he had a twin brother, was with me in a camp, but he didn't make it. And I feel sorry now that when I found him in Israel, that I didn't tell him that he was with me. His name was, Yuma would be Benjamin. He was with me in camp. And they come from a rich family. They had gerbed leather. They gerbed leather out in the leather business. So a few times when he was there, I made a party, and he had some people coming from America, and he invited them over to my party too. And they come over. He had some relation from America. But he didn't want to go to America. He wanted to fight for Israel. He did fight. He got wounded a lot of times. See, over there, officers go on the front line like the others. And he didn't mind, he wanted to. He was a hero, he probably had better experience, survived the war, a lot of fighting with the Polish people, maybe that's why he decided to be a military man. That's what his life was, the military. Well, they left nice 2 kids, I had pictures of them. I don't have him right now here. And I built in Israel too a monument, not I did, it's a city, some people, me built, they call it town of Volborn. I have a picture too, and pictures about the city of Volborn, a monument called Volborner Landsmannschaft. And like I said, and I showed you a picture a little while ago. I made here a monument in Toledo on the Woodland Cemetery of my father and mother and their brothers. Next to all the names on it. At least this I can do for them. And lately I inquired, I was trying to put something else and talk to Rabbi Sokovin about it. Well, they say every penny of it would cost that much. I say no, then I didn't want it. I was trying to buy a Torah to remember my dad and mother in memory of me, for me and my wife, for my, well, that's too expensive, I couldn't afford it.
Was there an opportunity for your family to move out of Poland?
Yes.
Could they have gotten out?
My dad made a big mistake. He had a friend by the name Issa Salzman, Jr., and he used to have a brewery from beer, and he had other business very wealthy too. And he used to tell to my dad, you got America here. Although he didn't realize I would have brothers, sisters, and grandchildren, you know, we have a family, would be all survive. If he would have even less, what's the difference? He have freedom. I don't know, people don't feel like living everything and get away, maybe. That's not couldn't influence, and I know it, like some people run away later to Russia, they have more chance to survive, some didn't. While they hate to take a little package, rucksack and go, people hate to live everything, they have nothing. The Hitler took everything away anyhow before, or they left your room, at least we can sleep, and we thought the war be over soon. We thought America get in the war be over, so, and it still took too long. We thought America is so strong. My dad used to be a military man, he knows a lot about it. He said the war be over soon, but they never got a chance to see it. So, still like I heard American come to Auschwitz, 50 kilometers from Auschwitz would be around 30 or 40 miles. And they wouldn't bomb. So it isn't feasible to throw bombs to Auschwitz. I myself couldn't contradict America, but I think it's a good thing to do it. Would it show the world that, hey, don't kill the Jews. We are here. And if they stop even, hit one the oven, so maybe it would take him another 24 or 50 hours, who knows, to build back an oven, would save so many Jews. See, this factory go all the time, they kill him. So I think it would be a good thing to done it. He was really very close to hit at Auschwitz, and Roosevelt said no. I myself thought that President Roosevelt was God. I thought he's a Jew. I was wrong, but he was so good. But it showed up. He was talking nice one side and the other side. When I come to America, I was reading magazines, 1942 magazines, the main library. So they say the world didn't know it. They didn't know it, in a magazine. I used to go down in the basement in downtown, and they showed how they took the people out with machine guns. And if they did those kind of things, what they think, they take him to a nice place. They take him for killing. Well, I know they did, and I think America didn't know it, so they seen the pictures. Why didn't they do something? The world used to holler. Some people, underground people, was a lot of organization here in England and other places. Why be a human being? I used to have a dog, I don't have him anymore. I couldn't have done it, anything what they done. It's impossible. I have a little friend come over to me, and he said, Jack, do you think anybody ever come out alive? And he didn't talk like I talk to you now. Very quiet, soft voice, he was scared, shaking. And take a few minutes, they take him, they hang him up by his feet. You think, how did I feel? I still couldn't think, it makes me feel now bad. They hanged him by his feet, and he hung 8 hours. He used to go by, he was still alive. And each time he used to go by, you give him a whip, the assessment. So you give him a whip, later he give an order to dog, and this dog all the time bites up a piece of it, the Jewish blood, the Jewish meat. And the guy was hanging for 8 hours. A kid, I would say a kid, 14 years old, the kid is not a grown man yet. So it was really tough to be a Jew. A lot of times, I remember when I had a little baby boy, I told to Rabbi Foyer, I don't think I would love my boy to be circumcised. I don't want him to suffer like I did. Well, it happened, I lost him. I think I would let him have circumcised. I figure I am in a country what's freedom. I don't think would ever repeat anything like this anymore. Myself, I thought it couldn't happen. And the other things I had in America, everybody else gets circumcised, so they wouldn't recognize. While, like my brothers, you didn't look Jewish, so they decided to get a Gentile paper, so they thought they survived, so that anyhow they got killed. And Or especially if you're not circumcised, and it's hard. Usually they check you if you're circumcised and stuff like this. But I look Jewish, I couldn't do anything, so I hang on to it. I remember one time, they have a nickname, they took us on a place, they call it, they were building a new camp in Jerozolimska called. Jerozolimska used to be a huge Jewish cemetery, it's in Krakow. They took us out to take the monuments off, and they built a camp, they built a factory making clothes for the German, uniforms and shovels, handles and other things, a lot of like an industry. We built it there and we worked for them. One time they took me up, and when they took the stone down, they kept shooting some people. And this man was tired shooting with a pistol. So across the street is another camp called Ulak. And he told him to bring over the Ukraine with machine guns and go shoot us out. I seen how bad it is, and there was a little outside a toilet on the cemetery. I ran in there, before I ran in, the Jewish police said, called the order, Stach, Check, stay, don't run away, stay here. I figured, you stay, I got to fight for my life. So I walked in, there was a little window in the toilet, and I kicked it out with my head. When I kicked it out with my head, and the cemetery was up to go in a hill, so I couldn't walk, so I moved in my thing so they wouldn't see me. I figured before the machine gun, before the other come in with the Ukraine with the machine gun. Ukraine was working with the SS, they were mad, bad people, they were worse than the German. Anyhow, I got up on a street called Bieliczka in Krakow, and I see a group goes into the ghetto. They call it Kabul. They walk for the place called Kabul, I know. So when they walked to Kabul, and I seen the man, the leader of the things group, he took me in, they know me, not Neufeld, no. So he counted to get one more, so they wouldn't watch it, they say, before you get in the ghetto. So when I come in, there was a friend of mine, his name was David with Bajere. It's a nickname, he come from a bigger city called Lodz. And he was already married man, he had a wife and a couple kids. And his wife kept crying, she found out I'm here, I don't know, I got in there. What happened to my husband, where's my husband? I couldn't tell him, he was shot in the head. Or then when he come back later, when they sent for the machine gun with Ukraine, he come back in alive and he asked me, what should I do? I said, we're going back over there to Pinyakoza. I said, you want to hide there or something, I don't know. I don't know where the bullet. So he went over there, he was laying at Pinyakoza, and he took his cap out, he was bleeding, and what he has a little gold jewelry, put it in the cap. And so a couple hours later, the Jewish police brought him back to the ghetto. He was alive and got treatment. And his wife begged me to go back to that thing, so I was scared, I don't want to go, I was trying to get money to another camp. So I got back and I brought home his cap with a lot of blood. He got the jewelry, so she can have jewelry, they sell a little jewelry, they can live on black market, buy a bread, something for the kids to eat. Couldn't say about luxury, because it's hard, everything was expensive, we're talking big money. Later there was another Judenrein in that Krakow ghetto, and I think he went maybe to Belzec. I think the whole family got killed out, so anyhow he didn't make it. He was a nice fella. What the reason was, we was at Pinyakoza when we were there. We picked up some bread, Polish people go by, we were working that cemetery, and a few times they sell us a piece of bread. So we thought we take some bread in it. We take a cup of bread, so we make enough to make another bread for yourself. Got to live. It wasn't legal. And then what was legal? It wasn't legal to be living, so I thought that either way, so you got to have something to eat. Later when they built up this camp, I was on the Jerozolimski, the huge camp, they built this up. While they liquidated the other camp, but they hide it, so they sent me over. When they sent me over, some of them, they took it again for shooting out. Some of them they sent to another place. I don't know. And some I was sending in another group. I decided to run away. I seen all the better guys there. I thought maybe they wouldn't kill us, maybe they'd use us. No. So they took us to a stone mine. It's hard work, but I figured I would live. I got to know some Ukraine. I went over, I thought I'd do some business with him. I told him I would buy some bread. And he made money, I made a little. One time I used to have some, it was known over there, they liked it, Polish boots, fancy made. They shined, you know. The name was Margoshi leather, it's very exclusive. And the guy asked me, say, how much you want for those boots? I say $5, $20, I didn't ask him any money. I figured, what's the difference? If he like the boots, he shouldn't, he takes it off. Here's your boots. He gave me a couple of plates. So you don't ask for money. You don't say how much you're going to handle the business. He wants the boots, he walked me down and say, if he wants it, he shouldn't be. I didn't tell her that time and I got it. I give it to him. So I had a bread or two for him. So that life was really, but more we talk, there comes more things to me. Or it's mixed up, like things I don't bring it up in the right way, in the right time. I couldn't remember everything. Other was really a tough life, but more I think. I can talk, I probably can write a book if I know how to bring it up, the whole thing. It was not so easy, so tough, so bitter, so sweet. We used to sit on an appel sometimes for hours on the knee, one lot like, I nothing can do it, I couldn't stand up back, we had to sit like this. Oh, it was that tough. And then sometimes we used to stay on an appel for hours to see when they hang people, to see it. And I was such a thing, so I couldn't stand it. I figured, what can I do? What can I do? They decided to take a few people off for no reason. I don't know what was the excuse, they hanged them out. Sometimes it was the excuse for running away. Nobody think to run away. Maybe they just was scared and tried to make people panicky, so they hanged them. They didn't want you, the American government, to want you. They get paid off, somebody got paid with gold, wherever, and with horses. But I went out to get those Nazis. I had bad feelings. My father, brother, and like I said, I was a young side, I didn't care for money. And I figured it doesn't do good, so I went to my own business. I opened business before I come to America. It's the story of my life, so I still had feelings for my folks and mother. And even that time I had more feelings when I was younger. I thought it's hard to live alone without anybody, left alone. I never got back to Poland. I didn't like it to go back. I was scared of them. They took everything away. They left a lot of property. I have one of my buildings. I give it to a cousin beginning who could get something for it, survivor, and I wrote it in that he's not allowed to make any bills for me. He can even sell it, he can improve it, or not to make any bills. I don't know why I said it like this, so he did anyhow. He saw he got a little bit something. Later, you couldn't even sell it while the government, Polish, took everything. So nobody owns anything. Maybe now we own it, I don't know. Maybe even now sometimes we got freedom. Everybody would die out. Maybe the Polish government would say, if there would be many alive, you can own your property, wherever you have your industry, if you come back. I doubt it, or I think maybe it wouldn't be many left, so it would be easy, it would be nice for them to say, all the Jews who ever survive will come back to Poland, you can get back. It's my opinion, I think. Or at that time, but there's nobody, let's face it, I was a youngster, I'm an old man. How many more people even older? You know what I mean? So probably then when there's nobody here, you say, come back. Where is your property? Whether you prove it, so who you are, or how can you prove it, then you will get property. Just a guess, it's an opinion. It would happen, I don't know. And if it doesn't mean nothing now anymore.
Could you go into different times you were in hiding, and what hiding was like? You had mentioned earlier
Preacher.
of the preacher.
I was in a village, in hiding by a preacher. The village was named Poręba. that preacher used to have signs out, Jews and dogs are not allowed. And he was friend to my dad, so I thought I'd be safe, that Hitler wouldn't think over there be Jews. So when they said it's Judenrein, so I went in and hid by that preacher. He paid off and everything, and when the kip I had,